Welcome to this Good Friday. We're back with another episode of Too Much Power Podcast with myself, Joni Alexander Robinson, and my wonderful husband, County Judge Gerald Robinson.
Well, it's a Good Friday. I can say that, and it is Good Friday.
It is. How you feeling? I know a lot of people wondering and want to see us after the election.
Yeah, post-election. Man, hey, I do want to thank my loyal followers, citizens of Jefferson County. I really appreciate the time that I have had to serve. It's been a good 38, almost 39-year run, and I'm very proud of the things that I've done in the process. We have nothing to hang our head down about my administration. I have nothing to hang my head about. And I'm actually happy, looking for the new endeavors that I'll enter into. And very proud and thankful that you've been on this ride with me and understand the ups and downs of it. And that makes a lot of difference when it comes to politics. But I'm happy. I'm not down about it. Disappointed. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't want to win. I'm disappointed I didn't win. But hey, I'm happy. You know, God's will is His will,
always.
And I've accepted His will.
I look forward to you getting your time back.
Yes. Spending time with family, friends. I have very few friends, but being able to just relax, enjoy life. I've worked all these years, and I deserve it. I mean, I have nothing to hang my head about because it's been an amazing run, and I have accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
Whether people want to accept that or they can hate on that all they want to.
Yeah.
But the record speaks for itself, even from sheriff up until the time I've been county judge. And hey, I still got the rest of the year to continue to put some things in place that is already in place, but we get to, start those things, whether it be, some groundbreaking events and my fun day that's coming up. Hey, I'm going to finish out strong.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun.
Well, I'm proud of you. It was a good run. We worked to the end, but I am relieved. I think the landscape of politics have changed. And for me, it's not that I just want everyone to agree with you or support you, but I don't think it's realistic to want your leader to be agreeable 100% of the time.
Exactly.
And for me, if you're going to be super critical of leadership that you don't like, be just as critical of leadership that you do like.
Exactly.
And if you're more compassionate for leadership that you do like, be just as compassionate for leadership you don't like.
Yeah.
And it's really unrealistic to think that 100% of the time that you're going to be able to satisfy everybody all the time.
Yeah, it's unrealistic. You're not going to be able to do that. If you had 10 people in the room and you said to them, I'm going to give you $5,000 a piece, that's going to be at least one of them say, he could have gave us $10,000.
Yeah.
You're never going to satisfy everybody. But you notice during the campaign, when we listed the accomplishments, I listed about 51, 52 accomplishments. Had more than that. But just being modest with the accomplishments that I had, no one argued about those accomplishments.
Yeah, it's not so this is a realization I've come to, because we know the main thing people hung on was you not paying the employees.
One of my staff in my office, whenever so much is going on, the comment is made, I'm over it. I'm over that because I know that it was not my fault. Many people know that it wasn't my fault. They just needed someone to hang the blame on. And since I'm the executive, then
I do think that because I said last time that I get it. Over 400 people not getting paid, they don't care about the politics of it. But if they were going to just blame you, also blame the members of the quorum court who was playing chicken too. And then you have these other 5 quorum court members that mainly voted with you, of sound mind to me. And they kind of get the raw end of the deal.
Only because they were voting for what was right, according to the law.
Yeah.
Now, anytime you have a legislative body that when a lawsuit was filed and they were found to be in the wrong, and then in their minds, they still have the assumption that, well, he didn't say we broke the law. If you violate the law, that's still breaking the law.
But the thing is, I don't think it's about right or wrong, any of that. I think, because I don't think people understand. They've been coming after you for 8 years. Like, every day is something.
Yes.
And I think it's hard for people to just be real and say, I don't like them. I want them out. I want somebody in there that's going to do me favors.
Yeah.
And they have to come up with something to hold over you that makes it seem more logical.
Exactly.
And it worked. And we're here now. But, you know, I've been there.
Yeah.
Which is why this podcast is called Too Much Power. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I ran for mayor and I lost the mayor's race. And when I think about it, as time has went on, that was kind of what I needed to move on from politics. Because, you know, I didn't seek re-election on the council. And I've always been gifted in politics, even though I have no background in it. But when I got in, I just soared in it. And when I got off the council, you know, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to start some good trouble. But then the Go Forward stuff came up, and then that motivated me to run. But I think it really took the citizens telling me, hey, we don't want you to serve us in this capacity, for me to go ahead and kind of move on and work on the things that I love to do. And I'm so excited for you because as much distance as I've tried to have from city and county government, you being in it still puts me there with it.
Right.
And I look forward to I'm tired of fighting.
Well, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm tired of the fight, because I believe in what I was doing was the right thing to do. So I'm always going to fight for what's right. Even out of politics, I'll still fight for what's right. I'll still want to do the right thing.
But everyone needs a break. Like I'm starting to understand why Moses threw the.
I'm telling you,
I need to go in the wilderness and take my sabbatical and replenish my spirit.
I can understand why Job's wife told him, say, just curse God and die. Because of all the heavy load that you have to deal with. As we said in the last podcast, social media has turned politics into a monster.
It's like a lynch mob.
Yes,
now
it is. It's like a lynch mob. It's like, if you don't do what people want you to do, then, hey, it is all in a fight for, let's do this person and get rid of them. In the case we mentioned last podcast about Frank Anthony, about Carl Reedus, those individuals who were turning things around, and the social media and even the media played a role. For instance, the last interview I had, it was with Ryan Houston, and I have to say, Ryan Houston, I hope that you get an opportunity to watch this podcast, because, young man, if it takes you doing what you did, it shows a lot about your integrity. It shows that that you're unethical. The fact that you, when the mic was off, or the mic was supposed to be off and the camera was off, and you still did what you did. I spoke to you as a older, with wisdom, talking to you as a young man, as I would talk to any young person, to talk with them who are trying to endeavor in their career to go higher, invest your monies in those things. That it was nothing said in a way to be bragging. I said, I spoke to you in a spiritual way. When you asked me, what would I do if I lost a race? And I told you that I would live. God got me. That I'm going to be fine. And when I told you win, lose, or draw, I win because I have God in my life. You didn't understand that, young man. And for that, I'm going to pray for you. Because when I sent you that text and I told you no weapon formed against me shall prosper, I may have lost a race, but I'm still fine. But you have to go to sleep at night knowing that you came in with an unclean heart, knowing that you were going to try to do the thing that you did. And I feel sorry for you for that. And if you think that you're going to get ahead doing that in the business that you're in, hey, it's a dog world out there too. And so it'll come back around.
Well, my granny told us don't pity nobody.
Yeah.
But on another note, Ryan is not in charge.
No, he's not in charge.
And to me, whoever is behind the scenes, I feel like he does have blame. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he has a lot of blame.
This is a whole system.
Yes, it's a whole system. KATV started where?
In Pine Bluff.
It started in Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Yeah. So the same powers that used to be pull.
They still have pull.
Yeah, and it's okay. That's always been the case when it comes to media, especially for Black leaders, especially in the state of Arkansas. Yeah. And it just is what it is. But I stopped doing television news. I will only do a television interview if I have someone else there recording me, because depending on the culture of the station, that's how they play to sensationalism to your clip. And you could be talking about some really good stuff, but if it doesn't play into whatever narrative they're pushing,
that's right.
And the narrative for you is this big bad man who don't have a heart for the people.
Don't have a heart for the people and all those things. And this is the thing. Under this administration, the employees have gotten more raises. The employees got bonuses. The elected officials got paid when they hadn't gotten an increase in pay since 2008.
Like 12 years.
Like 12 to 13 years. Yeah. And in policy, they get more days off.
But it's not about
that.
It's not about
this.
And then the thing about running for office is you're vying for a job where your resume is irrelevant. Your background is irrelevant. And it's it takes two to tango,
right,
And I think it used to be you had campaign season, and then you can go off and do your job, then you come back out. But because of social media, it's like you have to campaign 365 days a year. But the thing is, because the citizens' viewpoint of leadership has become so shallow, people cater to what are they gonna like personally. It's never really about the job. And I think it's really just everything going on in the world right now. Institutions are failing, systems are failing, the old way of doing things the code, respect, all of these things are shifting, and we're seeing it in real time. And I just wish that we would be more responsible as citizens and more accountable to our community. And when you talk about the social media hate, I know maybe during early voting, Lloyd Franklin made another post, and he was saying the judge has 2 houses, and he was saying he got one off of Island Harbor. One off of Island Harbor, and they're fixing the road. And that's what I talk about when we say propaganda and lies.
Yes.
We don't have a house on Island Harbor. The road was being fixed because it's a county road, but anyone who is a neighbor to Gerald or me, every road we live on is raggedy and bumpy. Call the people at Riverside. Go drive down there yourself. And that's my point. You shouldn't just be able to go on social media and lie and manipulate people in that way. But and I keep bringing up social media because it's so dangerous.
It's no guidelines to it. There's no way to police.
Yes, no way at all. Media. It's not because that's what drives it.
That's what drives it.
To the point it have people so hateful. A guy that you and Miss Pat helped get his $90,000 that 3 other county judges didn't help him get, rolled by the courthouse during early voting, flipped Miss Pat off.
Yeah.
I was sitting out there for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, J.Y. Williams. I know you don't want to say, but the deal is it was wrong. As a man, and I don't mind calling the name out, it was wrong. It was wrong. And the thing is, part of this podcast is that we're going to tell the truth. And the truth is that I'm very disappointed.
But I would have preferred for you all to talk first before we put his name out there.
Well, it's okay because I tried.
Okay.
So when you try to communicate or reach out, then if that is not reciprocated, is not returned, then hey, it's the way it is.
Yeah, understood.
We've had all kinds of text messages sent to us, wishing ill will and all those things on us because of the politics, and so it is really sad. And the thing that I said on the first podcast is that people don't want to get into this stuff. People that may have a good heart, really have a vision, they don't want to get into this stuff.
It's not attractive.
It's not attractive
to the people who are actually qualified to do it, and the amount of stress. And something that really frustrates me is it seems like when Black people finally have an opportunity to get into these positions, for one, we got to clean up from things that were not done for past administrations. Mm-hmm. And then the microscope that is on you that already comes with it.
That's right.
But, from your own people kind of using that we don't have protection or a system against you to move other people along, if that makes any sense.
Well, and just see, in your tenure was very short in politics, and you saw it. You came in at a time when politics was not fair. Well, I came into politics when it was a time that, hey, yes, your resume meant something, and your ability to do those things, or move forward or do right by the community and all those things. We had, it was a code, and I believe we managed those codes to the best of our ability. But
the population has changed too.
Yeah, population has changed,
and the dynamics and the voter now is in a different class, category, socioeconomic status. And for me, it's something because I don't fit in here, really, which is okay. So I've created my own lane and things that I do. But there are a lot of people like me who have also left Pine Bluff, because I left and I came back. And I'm telling you, the way we're moving is not attractive to people to not only want to come here, but to bring their children here.
That's right.
The way we handle business is childish. It's so surface level. We're not, we don't have problem solving skills. We're not using our critical thinking skills.
But
it's so emotional.
No one wants to accept that.
Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. Nobody's calling it what it is.
Yeah.
And we're going to lose another probably about 1,000 in population this year, 1,000 to 1,200. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
We are not attracted. There is not. I'm not saying that our school system can't get better, but we have a failing school system, right? Mm-hmm. We have a workforce that is not educated enough to perform some of these jobs.
To even do an entry-level job.
Entry-level jobs.
And people keep talking about trades, and I'm like, you're talking to a generation of children who don't even play outside, and you think they want to crawl in a crawl space and be a plumber? Like, we have to start having these conversations.
In order for us to create an atmosphere to where we can maneuver.
Address issues. If you don't talk about them, how can you address them?
That's right. If you don't address these issues, and we have to figure out a way to maneuver around these issues, or we have to meet these issues head on.
Yeah.
Accept where we are.
Yeah, and it's okay.
It's one of the things. What did they say, that if you have a problem with alcohol, the first thing that you have to do is accept
it. Yeah.
Or if you have a drug problem, the first thing you have to accept it.
But this is the thing. I think a lot of people benefit because poverty is a business. It's profitable.
It's profitable.
And a lot of people benefit off of Pine Bluff being in the current state that it is in. And so that is not going to change. But the difference between Pine Bluff and a lot of other places is that I don't think the people understand their power. And that's why they've been so divided. That's why everything has become so petty. But that's why I got off the city council.
Exactly.
I'm the one out in the streets having to hear the complaints of the citizens, and they were warranted. I was experiencing the same thing they're complaining about. But you get to that meeting and decisions are already made. And it's like, so you all get to make decisions like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, but we're the ones sitting up here having to be accountable to our constituents.
That's right.
And so that's why I got off. And looking at you in this journey, I said to myself, oh, if they don't like the way Gerald moves as county judge, because you are straight policy driven, that's my platform. And if they didn't like you as county judge, that was confirmation to me. I would have been a one-term mayor.
Yeah.
Which would have been okay, but it wouldn't have been enough time to really get some things done to make the city start functioning the way a city is supposed to go.
You know, I thought about it. I thought about doing a campaign. People would send me the videos. They sent me a video with, and by the way, let me do this. Congratulations to Ephraim Neely on his win. I ain't mad at your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to get the same message or the same criticism that I did.
But he may not, because he's friends with the people.
Yeah, he's friends with the people that want to bring me down.
That lead the charge, yeah.
But let me tell you what's going to happen. The first time
he tells somebody no,
that he says no,
mm-hmm.
or the first time that he tries
somebody.
to go by the law, or he has to fire somebody,
mm-hmm.
He don't worry, it's gonna come full circle.
Yeah.
And now, if you go back, I've been around a long time. Like I say, almost 39 years of doing this. Every county judge that's been here has been. They complain about roads.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna be the last county judge that's gonna complain about roads. The next county judge, the citizens are gonna complain about roads because they don't understand that only 6 cents of their dollar goes toward roads.
Mm.
And of that 6 cents, you got employees that you have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my case, like $1.7 million for employees. You got equipment that you have to pay for. You have materials that you have to pay for. So that whole, the Lloyd Franklin say he got more money than any other county judge. Well, we've created more revenue
mm-hmm.
than any other county judge. We have this casino that has come in. We have Highland Pellets has expanded when they came here. We had Car Tide, we had Good Day Farms, and all those things come here. So you're creating more revenue, tax-based stream. So yes, there's more. But they also have to acknowledge that there was some tough decisions made to decrease our spending.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as soon as they, if it starts again, if the trends, if this happens and you're surrounded by these people that want you to do everything they want you to do, the population's still going down.
Tax revenue.
And they're thinking about themselves. And so they're going to be trying to, hey, I'm going to take care of the employees. Give the employees all the money and see what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be in that same fix that those other county judges had, where we was wondering whether we was going to get paychecks or not.
Even when that was going on, nobody critiqued those county judges.
They didn't.
When employees didn't know if they would be paid mid-year.
When I was the sheriff and we had, I'm just going to call it like it is, a white county judge, they would call those meetings and every one of those elected officials would sit up in there that was black. They would sit up in there and they wouldn't say a word. But when they got out of there, they had all kind of talk going on. So it's a difference. And to me, if some of them think if it's not white, it's not right.
I can't put my finger on it because I don't understand it, but I do know even when you were sheriff and the county had issues, your budget was the first one that they cut.
The first one.
And we still maintain the cleanest jail in the state of Arkansas, county jail.
And we were revenue.
They were still fed.
They were still fed good.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that you do when you feed the detainees good, it keeps down problems, and we did that. So we spent a little bit more on food and things like that. But, we had it to where, there wasn't that many complaints. We didn't have all these deaths in the jail and all this stuff going on. There's so much stuff going on now that people are just looking over.
I think because I see this all the time when crime is brought up in Pine Bluff and people say, well, if you stay to yourself, you'll be fine, or it only happens to a certain type of people. But it's like, what about that mother that just lost her son at the gas station?
Exactly.
What about me, a council member that was robbed in my own driveway? Like, you can't negate the severity of crime.
When that happened. They found a way to turn it around and make it your fault. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, we can come back to that maybe on another episode. But my point is, I don't even know what my point was, because you just saying that really took me back to that time, which was the way that was handled,
exactly,
it just kind of showed me that when you learn that people don't give a damn if you live or die,
exactly,
that's
Yeah.
something. But to go back to the point when you talk about crime, that's what we were saying. I don't think people really care about those black boys being murdered and killed at that jail.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think
I just
a certain economic class,
exactly.
I think a certain lifestyle that people feel like, well, that's the life they live. And this is my first time in my life ever seeing a generation of people who do not live for their young people.
Exactly.
The good, the ones that we consider bad. They're still somebody's child, and you still should have some type of
compassion.
Yeah, and standard in a facility. And for how many deaths has it been? 9, 10?
Oh man, I don't know. I lost count at because we've had another 2 or 3 deaths in the last.
It's over 9.
Yeah,
right?
It's over 9. It's over 9.
And no investigation. And this is the thing. Like I said earlier, I don't expect for entities outside of Pine Bluff to care about what's going on in Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we can't self-police our own. Because, I mean, look, if I took something, I'm not going to tell on myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you still have a responsibility to the higher power that you work for.
Yeah.
So, again.
Yeah.
Under my administration, yeah, there was some things that we policed ourselves, which was maybe some criminal mischief, stuff like that, if they broke windows and stuff like that. But when it came, if it was a death or something like that, look, we call in another agency, okay?
And then another thing, I mean, it's a lawless town now.
Yes.
Because when stuff happens at the jail, or when stuff happens with certain people that's a part of this clique, they don't call 911. They call Easy directly. And it's just...
And that's a big complaint. That's been a big complaint.
The whole system is just... If something don't change, if the people who know better don't start doing better, because like I said, it's not attractive. People are leaving. Yeah. And one of the main things, I'm telling you, I don't even listen to what comes out of people's mouth majority of the time anymore. But if you look at this community, right? Most of the people in leadership, and I'm talking about elected officials, none of their children or grandchildren go to school in this city. Exactly. What does that tell you? When the superintendent of a school doesn't live in the city and their children don't go to school in that city, what does that tell you about that district? And when you know what, you said something earlier, and I said, I can't speak to it because I don't understand it, when you said white is right. Barbary, when Barbara Warren was the superintendent.
Oh, they roasted her.
We were able to speak out about our issues with the district. And I had some issues with, I had issues that they were putting someone over a failing district, over 2 districts, but it wasn't nothing personal against her. And it's crazy to me that the way we were able to see issues and speak about them when she was in a leadership position, then when Barbary gets in, the schools are the same. And now, since Barbary, we have another millage for 30 years, 60-some million dollars. And you hear no critiques about the schools. You don't hear anything about the fights. And at least Barbara Warren, she lives in Pine Bluff.
Right.
Her children went to school
lived
here.
In Pine Bluff.
Yeah, and it's like, you all don't understand all of these positions because people don't believe that this city will ever come back. So what they're doing, every resource that's out there, they're able to put their people in there, position them. They're getting these nice retirements. Why does a superintendent have to make over $200,000 a year?
Well, listen, I'm not against a superintendent making the money that they make. I'm not. I'm cool with that. But what I do expect out of that person, no matter how much money they make, what I do expect is to make sure that our kids are being educated in a way that we're not in a failing system.
Yeah.
You say what you want to say about Frank Anthony. You can say that the man talked to you wrong or didn't like the way, he talked to you, whatever. But that man was by that book and he was about those kids. And I used to talk. I've talked with Frank Anthony. He said it was about those babies. It was about those children. And I truly believe in my heart that he cared about those kids.
Yeah.
And so he brought a failing school district. We won. What was it? Fiscal distress or academically distressed?
I wasn't here. I don't think.
Yeah. So so we weren't failing like that.
He came in, cleaned up, like I said earlier, that we have to do.
But there we go again. Get us our community, and there you go. They find something that they stick to. Matter of fact, during the early voting, I had conversation with someone, and we was talking about. I guess they may have heard our podcast, and we talked about Carl readers, and they made mention of how Carl talked to different people and all those things. Well, look. A lot of times when you're in a leadership position, you don't have time to put up with a lot of small talk and all those things. You're about your business. And sometimes, and I feel like as long as you fair, firm, and consistent, and I believe Carl really cared about this city because the way he was maneuvering, the way he was moving, and he was clicking. Mm-hmm. He was clicking. And that became a problem with some of the powers that we have. I think
maybe
some meetings that he didn't make.
Don't like certain people being able to talk to them certain ways.
Exactly.
And that's why I tell people, Pine Bluff is a black city, but we have
no economic strength.
That's exactly what it is. Like, that's why I started the Pine Bluff Black Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. Pine Bluff is over 80% black. Less than 8% of the businesses are black owned. So we don't have that economic power. Yeah. We're just a tax base. We're just a voter base. All we do is generate the revenue for other people to make decisions on spending. Mm-hmm. And it's so baffling to me and I knew I would face difficulty starting the Black Chamber. I think we're the first one in the state of Arkansas. And they're everywhere, but it's something new here. You know, it's a red state. But I never thought my biggest issue would be having to convince black people about the importance of having a black chamber. And it's nothing against anybody else, but we have a different type of life. We have different type of things that affect us. I'll give you an example. The median wealth income for black people is projected to be 0 by the year 2058.
Where did that information come from?
It's all of the different economic, like they can Google it and they'll see this is legit information. Right. Yeah.
I know it. I just wanted you to, kind of put out there
it's different sources, but they can look it up because for blacks it's supposed to be 0 by 2058. For Hispanics, I want to say by 2070 something. So 20 years after us. Mm-hmm. That's insane. And at the same time that this is happening to black people, the largest wealth transfer in the United States is happening simultaneously, and it will benefit more so white women than any other demographic. But the main demographic that benefits for it is white people, and that's cool. But guess what they're doing? They're creating nonprofits to teach them how to invest in their wealth and do these things. You don't hear nobody talking about the median wealth income. You don't hear anything like that. Yeah. You don't hear no other organization even thought to see what percentage of business owners are black in Pine Bluff. And so, I think at face value, we are a black city, but it frustrates me when people market it as the next Black Wall Street. And it's like, we don't have black wealth.
Yes.
Black Wall Street, they pick themselves up by their bootstraps like people say we need to do all the time. And I really don't like that saying, but I like to bring it up because this group of people did it because they had to, because banks was not given to them. Right. These were black people who built their wealth, and they built the economic district with entrepreneurs in there. And guess what? The government and everyone came and they bombed it and blew it up and killed so many people. And what people don't talk about when it comes to Black Wall Street, those black people rebuilt. That's what a lot of people don't know. And they could only get shop materials from other black business owners, and they used the rail system for that. But they rebuilt, and then guess what? Urban renewal came.
That's right.
And they took it
Oklahoma.
by eminent domain.
That's right.
And so you have to have historical context. You have to understand the systems that are in place. And that's why I say I'm not beefing with Lloyd Franklin Jr. For one, I don't know Lloyd. We don't run in the same circles. We didn't grow up together. We don't share the same bloodline. I don't know him other than outside of county stuff. And, we're both from Pine Bluff. But I'm not fighting against little local jokers. I fight against systems and institutions. I fight to take care of my people and educate them on things that's going on.
Talking about Lloyd and those Lafayette and all those guys, the biggest fights came from the people that I have helped. The biggest fight, the biggest push have come from the people that I have helped.
Yeah.
And and I walk around sometimes and I look at them. And I won't call the names, but I look at them.
Oh, now you won't call names.
Well, I won't call them because a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But one got caught selling cardboard to the vendor on the side.
Yep.
Could have had him prosecuted, had him dead to right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Another one, while working for the county judge, Lloyd Franklin, one we just mentioned, did so much stuff that he should have been prosecuted. Those ones that you help is the ones that bring you down. Courtney Kelly had a pending charge that could on about a 4-wheeler. But I said, hey, let me have him. I think I can turn the young man around. But one of the biggest critics now sue him for defamation of character from some stuff that he did.
I thought it was dropped.
No, it's still going on.
Okay.
It's still going on. But I'm not worried about it. But this is what I'm telling you. And whether you like Floyd Donald or not, when Floyd is giving you these stats, the one thing I can say about him is he reads. And now I think he goes way out on some things about the churches and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's telling the truth. And people don't like hearing the truth and it because it convicts them. Because they know that he's telling the truth and they're convicted by the truth.
I don't think it convicts them. If your heart is hardened and you have a reprobated mind, the truth does not convict you.
But again, he's been accused of just trying to talking trash about Pine Bluff. But hey,
but that's his platform.
That's his platform.
And,
that's right.
That's his platform.
And the thing is that hey, you got to call it like it is, and so I think.
But even with that, Floyd doesn't own the station.
No, he doesn't. Own the station.
He has a show on it, but just. Like you said, a lot of these people are people that you help, but I think in that is a lesson that I've learned seeing it firsthand that if you are helping people, don't expect anything. In return. And it seemed like your worst adversaries are the ones that you have helped.
Yeah. But the good thing that I in this journey, my circle has gotten smaller and smaller. And the one thing that you'll learn about politics is that when election comes, you're going to know who for you and who is against you. And I respect, and that was a business owner, I had a conversation with Ford Trotter, and I respect Ford Trotter because he told me, he said, hey, I'm going with Nate Todd. I think we need a change. I respect that. The man told me straight up. So Ford, I respect that. But these jokers who are in your face and going behind your back and stabbing you in the back, that's what, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. But it's not, so no, I take that back. It's not the worst thing that can happen to you. It's a good thing because when you know who your enemy is,
it's a blessing.
It's a blessing. That's right. And,
we were laughing about this. We were supposed to have a wedding in 2020, but COVID happened. But we were going to have it somewhere where the maximum capacity was 100 people. And so I found that list, and that was in 2020. And you fast forward to now, and the list was over 100. It's probably 10, if that,
maybe
people
10,
on that list 10 that we are still close with or that fool with us.
Yeah. And so that circle has gotten smaller.
It's a line. It ain't even a circle.
Yeah, it's not even a circle anymore. It's a line. And so, but it's been a blessing. And so I'm going to say, I have really, I really appreciate the ride that I've been on, because I've learned, I've grown stronger spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
When I've had ministers that have come up to me and said, "Man, you're a strong man," because I couldn't take or do what you're doing, that made me feel good. And sometimes I've been in this fight so long that I didn't know how many punches I was getting,
mm-hmm.
and the punches may have been doing some damage, but I couldn't tell, because I'm a true soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beating that path. But now that this is over, I mean, that I'll be going into another chapter of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, one of my employees was talking to me the other day, and they looked at me, and I was smiling. They said, "Man, you got a totally different look on your face." and the thing is that I feel good about where I am, who I am,
mm-hmm.
and things that I've done. I'm very proud.
Your journey through this, to me, the most powerful thing is that you have a testimony, and you are an example of, if God with me, he's more than the whole world against me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think people understand what you have come up against.
That's right.
But and I've always believed that saying,
mm-hmm.
I always
mm-hmm.
believed in God's word, but to actually have to live it
through it, yes.
It is the absolute truth,
yes.
that if you center yourself on that, and that's something that is missing now.
Yes. One of the biggest things to me, when I lost my sister Sheena, and Sheena, we had that was my girl. Now, listen, we would have those conversations, and she would. A lot of people don't know, if you're from Humphrey, they call you by your middle name. So she said, "Lewis, I wish you would get out of this." She said, "Because these people are so hateful
mm-hmm.
and so jealousy and envious driven." She said, "You need to live they're unhappy. You need to live your life." And I'm gonna tell you, the journey was not as fruitful to me because I didn't have her
mm-hmm.
riding with me.
And what a lot of people don't understand is you had, in 2025, you lost 6 family members, close family members, aunt, sister, first cousins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
just back to back and back. And so, when my sister was in the hospital, 3 months,
mm-hmm.
we were up and down that highway every day, and I'm still handling county business.
And that was during the employees not being paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so still up and down the highway, and then Big Hawk, my cousin Fred, was in the hospital, and so still going back and forth to see him. And my Aunt Dorothy was sick.
Your brother, he didn't pass, but he was in the hospital at the same time, and he was, according to the doctor, he was out.
Wasn't going to
make it.
Out.
Yeah.
And I had to go to St. Louis,
mm-hmm.
take him had to be taken to St. Louis. And so had to go up there and visit with him. So it was so many things going on that people didn't really know. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is that.
But we all going through life. God don't have respect the person.
That's right.
So regardless of how great you think it is, regardless of how we keep our head up, that shouldn't enrage you to the point that you want to mm-hmm. sabotage the happiness that you see. And what you was really seeing was God being our strength. Because last year that was heavy.
That was hectic. Let me tell you something. And the greatest news that I got, I went to my doctor, and man, my blood pressure was almost perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was. It for how it had been up to now, so much stress is relieved from me. I'm just. We're gonna go through this thing and just finish it out. And
you fought to the end.
Yeah,
and
I fought to the end.
It's a new chapter started.
Yeah, a new chapter started, and I can truly say that I gave Jefferson County the best of me,
and that's all God requires.
That's all that's required. And so I'm not hanging my head down. So if you see me, I'm not hanging my head down. Don't worry about me. As I told Ryan Houston, God has me. And if any of you have a relationship with the Lord, you know what I'm talking about. This is not bragging, or anything of that nature, because God's word doesn't come back void. And so I'm going to keep trusting him. I'm going to keep my faith, and we're going to live our lives to the best of our ability. And hey, time to do a little fishing, time to do a little traveling.
A lot of traveling.
Yeah.
But your cousin Jolinda said it best. It's become, when you were talking about Sheena, it made me think about when she said this to me, that people now try to wound you.
Yes.
It's not just...
They want to see you hurt.
Yeah, they might even kill.
Yeah.
Like...
That just reminded me when you said that. Remember that, I don't know whether it was a Facebook post or whether it was a text, and say, we thought that robbery was going to run y'all. What was it?
We thought the robbery would have made y'all leave. Y'all some tough MFers.
Yeah, some tough MFs.
Yeah, that's something. And to the point, to bring all this together, Pastor Smith, we were talking, and he said the issue is the decisions we're making aren't centered on the word of God anymore. Yes. And that matters, because if the decision is based off of anger, if it's based off of jealousy, if it's based off of emotion, we don't have no commonality, because you got different classes of people, different races of people. But what used to really matter was being Christ-centered, being grounded in the word of God when you were making decisions. And that's why everything is so chaotic now. And I think now a true currency is your privacy now, because with social media, it has become so dangerous.
Man,
I look forward to not being on there anymore. And I'm going to tell you what really pushed me to get off. And I don't post that much, but when they start using the few little pictures I post to create AI images of me and songs, that really creeped me out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fall back on all this. And I can do that now, because you'll be retiring and we can start a new chapter and capitalize off of all the lessons that we've learned through this journey. And everybody don't get the privilege to learn the things that we learned. And they were hard lessons, but I thank God for them all. But I do want people to know that every episode will not just be us.
We will invite guests.
Yes, address current issues, things going on in the news. But we knew that after the election, people would kind of want to hear what we were talking about and kind of see how you were doing. And I'm going to tell you something, Gerald, the love really has been awesome since the election results. And I don't think people understand it. As much as you have people that love you, we also have people that love us. And it's no hard feelings on this side.
No,
you all have the right to vote for who you want to vote for.
The people spoke.
Yeah, but it's the way in which it was done.
But yes, the way in which it was done, the way but it took all of those individuals banding together to come up against one. Yeah,
they worked hard enough.
They worked
8 years.
They worked hard.
Yeah, they finally got their victory.
But I'm still good with that. And I'm okay. I am somewhat disappointed in some things that occur. And we were talking, Pastor Smith and I was talking at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. We were talking about the ministers that we used to have, those old, the Reverend Fords and the
Reverend Dr. G.L. Ford. That was Reverend my Dr. church, G.L. Rose Ford. Hill, but I'm a Shilohite now. But
and O'Neill from Stuttgart.
But the population has changed. We don't have the same type of leadership.
We don't have that stern, strong leadership anymore, because we had pastors that was in place that guided us.
It's a new season.
It is,
and we gotta adjust to it. And I think we've gone out our way trying to make it what it used to be.
And it's not.
And I've had to accept the world don't revolve around me.
Yeah.
So my likes and dislikes, I might see something as raggedy, but I gotta accept that some people may not see it that way. I might see something that, when I found out that 48% of the youth live below poverty. I couldn't sleep that night. But trying to tell you, somebody else, it may not affect.
It may not affect them.
And the season for leaders like us has passed. And for you to have lasted this long is really amazing. Yeah.
It's been tough. It's been tough. But again, let me say this. I know we're getting close to closing
we're
out.
There. Yeah.
Again, to my loyal followers and the citizens of Jefferson County who have supported me throughout the years. I extend to you a warm thank you for all that you have done. I humbly, respect, love you, that, hey, I gave 39 years, almost 39 years of my life for service, not only for this country, but for this county. And I just want to thank you. And to those who come behind me, I pray that you allow God to lead you, your life, and you be an instrument that he uses to do what's right for the people and not be self-serving. Be a servant.
That's a good prayer. And I want to thank the people who can support a candidate, but do it respectfully. Because the issue isn't you didn't vote for this person, but the way you go about it still has to have some type of order and decorum in it. So we thank you guys for tuning in. This is another episode of Too Much Power podcast with myself, Joni Alexander Robinson, and my wonderful husband,
County Judge Gerald Robinson, till the end of the year.
You always gonna be my judge. So
hey, I've gotten plenty of texts saying that you're gonna always be my judge. So regardless of those people, and remember this, in closing, remember this, roads will always be an issue because we do not have enough tax dollars. And even if we did, we will not have the ability to fix every road.
And people don't really care about the big picture. People want their road fixed. And yes, you didn't fix people who felt like they roads should have been fixed. I guarantee you one thing: you go to those individuals whose roads have been fixed. Yes, you can't tell them nothing about Judge Gerald Robinson. Okay, so with that, we end. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Too much power.